Just wait a couple of minutes. Good morning, everyone. Oh. Hi, Christina. Good afternoon to you on your time. I have a surprise to show you. Something I went and did yesterday. You're in here before my sister. Yeah, I went and did something, and yeah, it's a change. It's been a while, a long while. So yeah, anyways, I'm waiting to see if a couple more people come in. My sister should be coming in pretty soon unless she decided to take a nap. I could go live a couple minutes early, so. Copper is still dealing with that patchy skin, whatever he's got going on. I had to put bag balm on his neck because he keeps scratching it and it's getting all yuck. I don't know what to do. We're trying everything. We're trying these. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but trying these allergy chews. It's for his skin and coat. Salmon oil and probiotic blend. So, I mean, he's been taking it for a week and a half or so. But yeah, I'm praying that something helps. All right, Christina, here I'll show you. I chopped it off. It's not too short and it's not way long. All the dead stuff is gone. Thank you. Yeah, we're grasping at straws, trying to figure it out. He's losing weight. He still plays, but those spots keep popping up everywhere, and I don't know what to do. Hi, Raycom. Thank you. Yeah, so I went and got it cut yesterday. I just got tired of all that dead stuff, and it won't grow if I don't get it trimmed at least. She took 2 inches off. And my bangs are the same length as the rest of my hair now, again. So, yeah, that's what I did. My mom used to cut my hair, but she doesn't anymore. Um, yeah. let's go ahead and get it started. I got tired of my bangs always being in my mouth. But she didn't cut my bangs. She just I told her to take 2 inches off, and she remembered how she did it last time. So yeah, pretty amazing when people can remember you a year and a half, 2 years before. But anyway, so my name's Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So please be aware of the people in the chat may not be a suffering alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic at all. They might be here to support my channel or to learn ways to help a friend or family member to become sober. That's what I do this for. It's for multi-purpose, uh, helping others with whatever their addiction may be, or because I was a smoker. I quit a year and a couple months ago. So and the struggle's real on all aspects of quitting something. Because yes, I went through withdrawals with um, smoking as well. So just a second. Anyway, step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore sanity. All right, I'll read it and then you can delete it. Um, I don't know if this chat comes up, but I also have Facebook. I don't know if you can send me messages there or not. You can try. Hello, Ava. Thank you for coming. See my surprise? It's free flowing. Got it trimmed yesterday. Anyway, 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Hmm. 10, continue to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. We are reading the big book, and I always put in the description what book we're reading, the page we're on, and the story. So we're reading the Big Blue Book, and we are on freedom from bondage. My sponsor always told me you have got to read that one. So it's all right, Lily. All right, Ray. So freedom from bondage. Young when she joined this AA believes her serious drinking was the result of even deeper defects. She she here tells how she was set free. The mental twist that led up to my drinking began many years before I ever took a drink. For am I one of those whose history proves conclusively that my drinking was a symptom of a deeper trouble? Through my efforts to get down to causes and conditions, I just lost myself again. Okay, I read that part. I stand convinced that my emotional illness has been present from my earliest recollection. I never did react normally to any emotional situation. The medical profession would probably tell me I was conditioned for alcoholism by the things that happened to me in my childhood. And I am sure they would be right as far as they go. But AA has taught me I am the result of the what way I reacted to what happened to me as a child. What is much more important to me, AA has taught me that through this simple program, I may experience a change in this reaction pattern that will indeed allow me to match calamity with serenity. I am an only child, and when I was 7 years old, my parents separated very abruptly with no explanation at all. I was taken from my home in Florida to my grandparents' home in the Midwest. My mother went to a nearby city to go work. Copper quit, and my father, being an alcoholic, simply went. Quit. Now. Sorry. My grandparents were strangers to me, and I remember being lonely, terrified, and hurt. In time, I concluded that the reason I was hurt was because I loved my parents. And I concluded, too, that if I never allowed myself to love anybody or anything, I could never be hurt again. It became second nature for me to remove myself from any or anybody I found myself growing fond of. I grew up believing that one had to be totally self sufficient, for one never dared to depend on another human being. I thought that life was a pretty simple thing. You simply made a plan for your life based upon what you wanted, and then you needed only the courage to go after it. In my late teens, I became aware of emotions I'd not counted on: restlessness, anxiety, fear, and insecurity. Counted on, insecurity. The only kind of security I knew anything about at that time was material security, and I decided that all these intruders would vanish immediately if I only had a lot of money. The solution seemed very simple. With cold calculation, I set about to marry a fortune, and I did. The only thing this changed, however, was my surroundings, and it was soon apparent that I would have the same uncomfortable emotions with an ultimate, unlimited checking account that could on a working girl's salary. It was impossible for me to say at this point, maybe there is something wrong with my philosophy. And I certainly couldn't say, maybe there is something wrong with me. It was difficult. My son just made me lose my spot. Sorry. Okay, it was not difficult to convince myself that my unhappiness was the fault of the man I had married, and I divorced him at the end of a year. I was married and divorced again before I was 23 years old, this time to a prominent band leader, a man whom many women wanted. I thought this would give me ego strength, make me feel wanted and secure, and alleviate my fears. But again, nothing changed inside me. Hello, Ash. The only importance in all of this lies in the fact that at 23 I was just as sick as I was at 33 when I came into AA. But at that time, I apparently had no place to go because I had no drinking problem. Had I been able to explain to a psychiatrist the feelings of futility, loneliness, and lack of purpose that had come with my deep sense of personal failure at this second divorce, I seriously doubt that the good doctor could have convinced me that my basic problem was a spiritual hunger. But AA had shown me this was the truth. And if I had been able to turn to the church at that time, I'm sure they could not have convinced me my sickness was within myself, nor could they have shown me that the need for self analysis that AA has shown me is vital if I am to survive. So I had no place to go, or so it seemed to me. I wasn't afraid of anything or anybody after I learned about drinking. It seemed right from the beginning that With liquor, I could always retire to my little private world where nobody could get at me to hurt me. It seemed only fitting that when I did finally fall in love, it was with an alcoholic, and for the next 10 years, I progressed as rapidly as is humanly possible into what I believe to be hopeless alcoholism. During this time, our country was at war. My husband was soon in uniform and among the first to go overseas. My reaction to this was identical in many respects to my reaction to my parents leaving me when I was 7. Apparently, I'd grown physically at the customary rate of speed, and I had acquired an average amount of intellectual training in the intervening years, but there had been no emotional maturity at all. I realize now that this phase of my development had been arrested by my obsession with self and my ego ethnicity had reached such proportions that adjustment to anything outside my personal control was impossible for me. I was immersed in self pity and resentment, and the only people who would support this attitude or who I felt understood me at all were the people I met in bars and the ones who drank as I did. It became more and more necessary to escape from myself, for my remorse and shame and humiliation when I was sober were almost unbearable. The only way existence was possible was through rationalizing every sober moment and drinking myself into complete oblivion as often as I could. My husband eventually returned, but it was not long until we realized we could not continue our marriage. By this time, I was such a past master at kidding myself that I had convinced myself I had sat out a war and waited for this man to come home. And as my resentment and self pity grew, so did my alcohol problem. The last 3 years of my drinking, I drank on my job. The amount of willpower exercised to control my drinking during working hours, diverted into a constructive channel, would have made me president. And the things that made the willpower possible was the knowledge that as soon as my day was finished, I could drink myself into oblivion. Inside, though, I was scared to death, for I knew that the same was coming and it couldn't be too remote. When I would be unable to hold that job, maybe I wouldn't be able to hold any job. Or maybe, and this was my greatest fear, I wouldn't care whether I had a job or not. I knew it didn't make any difference where I started, the inevitable end would be Skid Row. The only reality I was able to face had been forced upon me by its very repetition. I had to drink, and I didn't know there was anything in the world that could be done about it. About this time, I met a man who had 3 motherless children, and it seemed that might be a solution to my problem. I'd never had a child, and this had been a satisfactory excuse many times for my drinking. It seemed logical to me that if I married this man and took the responsibility for these children, that they would keep me sober. So I married again. This caused a comment from one of my AA friends when I told my story after coming into the program. That had always been a cinch for the program, for I had always been interested in mankind. I was just taking them one man at a time. The children kept me sober for darn near 3 weeks, and then I went on. Please God, make her my last drunk. I've heard it said many times in AA. There is just one good drunk in every alcoholic life, and that's the one that brings us into AA. And I believe it. I was drunk for 60 days around the clock, and it was my intention, literally, to drink myself to death. I went to jail for the second time during this period for being drunk in an automobile. I was the only person I'd ever known personally who had ever been in jail, and I guess it was most significant that the second time was less humiliating than the first had been. Finally, in desperation, my family appealed to a doctor for advice, and he suggested AA. The people who came knew immediately I was in no condition to absorb anything of the program. I was put in a sanitarium to be defogged so that I could make a sober decision about this for myself. It was here that I realized for the first time that as a practicing alcoholic, I had no rights. Society can do anything it chooses to do with me when I am drunk, and I can't lift a finger to stop it, for I forfeit my rights through the simple expedient of becoming a menace to myself and to the people around me. With deep shame came the knowledge, too, that I had lived with no sense of social obligation, nor had I the meaning of moral responsibility to my fellow men. Hi, Cheryl. I attended my first AA meeting 8 years ago, and it is with deep gratitude that I'm able to say I've not had a drink since that time and that I take no sedation or narcotics, for this program is to me one of complete sobriety. Sorry guys, I gotta move my leg. I no longer need to escape reality. One of the truly great things AA has taught me is grim side before the program. Oh, wait, sorry. I skipped a bunch. Has taught me is the reality too has two sides. I had only known the grim side before the program, but now I had a chance to learn about the pleasant side as well. The AA members who sponsored me told me in the beginning that I would not only find a way to live without having a drink, but that I would find a way to live without wanting a drink. If I would do these simple things, they said, if you want to know how this program works. Take the first word of your question. The H is for honesty. The O is for open mindedness. And the W is for willingness. These our big book calls the essentials of recovery. They suggested that I study the AA book and try to take the 12 steps according to the explanation in the book, for it was their opinion that the application of these principles in our daily lives will get us sober. To keep us sober, I believe this, and I believe too that it is equally impossible to practice these principles to the best of our ability a day at a time and still drink. For I don't think the two things are compatible. I had no problem admitting I was powerless over alcohol, and I certainly agreed that my life had become unmanageable. I had only to reflect on the contrast between the plans I made so many years ago for my life with what really happened to know I couldn't manage my life drunk or sober. AA taught me that willingness to believe was enough for a beginning. It's been true in my case. Nor could I quarrel with restore us to sanity, for my actions drunk or sober before AA were not those of a sane person. My desire to be honest with myself made it necessary for me to realize that my thinking was irrational. It had to be, or I could not have justified my erratic behavior as I did. I've been benefited from a dictionary definition I found that reads rationalization is giving a social acceptable reason for socially unacceptable behavior, and socially unacceptable behavior is a form of insanity. AA has given me serenity of purpose and the opportunity to be of service to God and to the people about me, and I am serene in the infallibility of these principles that provide the fulfillment of, of my purpose. AA has taught me that I will have peace of mind in exact proportion to the peace of mind I bring into the lives of other people. And it has taught me the true meaning of the motion. Happy are ye who know these things and do them. For the only problems I have now are those I create when I break out in a rash of self will. I've had many spiritual experiences since I've been in the program, many that I didn't recognize right away, for I'm slow to learn and they take many guises. But one was so outstanding that I like to pass it on whenever I can in the hope that it will help someone else as it has me. As I said earlier, self pity and resentment were my constant companions. And inventory my inventory began to look like a 33-year diary, for I seemed to have a resentment against everybody I had ever known, all but one, responsible to the treatment suggested in the steps immediately, but this one posed a problem. This resentment was against my mother, and it was 25 years old. I had fed it, fanned it, and nurtured it as one might a delicate child, and it had become as much a part of me as my breathing. It had provided me with excuses for my lack of education and marital failures, personal failures, inadequacy, and of course, my alcoholism. And though I really thought I had been willing to part with it, I knew I was reluctant to let it go. One morning, however, I realized I had to get rid of it, for my reprieve was running out. And if I didn't get rid of it, I was going to get drunk. And I didn't want to get drunk anymore. In my prayers that morning, asked God to point out to me some ways to be free of this resentment. During the day, a friend of mine bought me some magazines to take to a hospital group I was interested in. I looked through them. A banner across one featured an article by a prominent clergyman in which I caught the word resentment. He said, in effect, if you have a resentment you want to be free of, if you will pray for the person or the thing that you resent, you will be free. If you will ask in prayer for everything you want for yourself to be given to them, you will be free. Ask for their health, their prosperity, their happiness, and you will be free. Even when you really don't, or even when you don't really want it for them, and your prayers are only words and you don't mean it, go ahead and do it anyway. Do it every day for 2 weeks, and you will find you have come to mean it and to want it for them. And you will realize that where you used to feel bitterness and resentment and hatred, you now feel compassionate, understanding, and love. It worked for me then, and it has worked for me many times since. And it will work for me every time I am willing to work it. Sometimes I've asked first for the willingness, but it too always comes in because it works for me. It will work for all of us. As another great man says, the only reason freedom a human being can ever know is doing what you ought to do because you want to do it. This great experience that released me from the bondage of hatred and replaced it with love is really just another affirmation of the truth I know. I get everything I need in Alcoholics Anonymous, and everything I need I get. And when I get what I need, I invariably find that it was just what I wanted all the time. So it's true you can hold on to things from when you are a child, but that doesn't mean that you're going to know what that is. Um, I know I grew up in a broken home. My parents divorced when I was two, when my twin and I were two. And our father decided he was just going to continue on with his journey of being an alcoholic. And he came and went whenever he wanted to. He heard us when we were 2 years old. I mean, treated us like we were an adult female at 2. And we held on to that. And then it happened again. And not just by him, by another family member, meaning his brother. So we had that double dose of that bad reality. And we were around alcohol all the time at that point in time. And we started drinking, we started smoking. And then when our stepmom came, all that had to stop. So we were allowed to do those things because, well, the adults were drunk, so why not? And we partied with them and did all kinds of stupid shit, and we had no adults supervising us. And so, yeah, we drank, and my sister and I became alcoholics. We knew we would. We fought it for many, many, many years. We hit our 30s and down we went at the same time. Because, the twins, they do the same thing pretty much at the same time. Not always. Don't get me wrong. It's not all the time. But yeah, so like this lady, she didn't realize that she had that with her the whole time about her mother and resenting her and not being able to get rid of that resentment feeling because you didn't realize what it was. But it's true, when you finally realize that in order to get rid of that feeling, you really do need to ask your higher power for better for the person who you are getting that resentment for. I know it sucks, but I also tell all of my sponsees, you gotta pray for them. Pray and pray and pray. I know you don't like it, and my sponsor did that to me. She's always telling me because I was always upset about it. And she was always telling me, you need to pray about it. Just pray about it. I know you don't want to pray for that person, but that's how you're going to deal with it. And it was true. So I've learned that when something makes me upset, I walk away, number one. Number two, I curse the hell out of him to myself, of course. And then that makes it even worse. Then I remember, I need to take deep breaths and calm myself down because that is another thing that you'll learn. Or as the book says, we've already learned it. And then you just learn to pray for them. And it sucks that you got to pray for somebody that made you feel that way. But it does work. It does help you to feel better about your feelings and changing your thinking of having that resentment gone right away. And so that's what I tell everybody is pray for that person. No matter how upset they make you or how long it takes you, she would always tell me, pray for him for 2 weeks. I did not like that. Not at all did I like that idea. I was like, nope, I ain't doing it. Forget that, right? I prayed for him anyway because, um, I didn't want to hold on to it forever. It was making me mad. But, yeah, so that is the freedom from bondage. Freeing yourself of being bound by that resentment towards somebody. Um, by praying for them and praying for the things that you want for them to have. What I say in mine is, God, show them it's your way and not their own. And that's about it. That's all I say. Um, it's your will and not their own. And usually it makes me feel better, and I'm able to just take that off of my mind, and my resentment is gone, and I feel better about, maybe that person will find it's not that person's will, it's a higher power's will. Anyways, so yeah, it does work. The bondage thing, it's the truth. Um, I've always felt better after praying for them. Um, because I can get a resentment, and I do hold on to it for a long time. So yeah, you gotta take care of those resentments right away, because it could be bad for you to hold on to. But finding AA was one of the best things I've done in my life. They have helped me so much in learning and giving me tools that I can help others with. And that's why I do these meetings. So, Ray, you can go ahead and ask that now. I will answer it with what I can answer. Um, just put it in there, and you can remove it if you like. I don't expect people to leave their comments in the comments if they don't want them there, because they do upload from just the YouTube side, which is what I'm on right now because my laptop, that thing is, I think it's toast. But while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to read the daily reflection. May 4th, entirely honest. I don't know how this happens, but usually I end up reading from the daily reflection. It had something to do with what you just read. So, entirely honest. We must be entirely honest with somebody if we expect to live long or happy in this world. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 73 and 74. Honesty, like all virtues, is to be shared. It began after I shared my whole life story with someone in order to find my place in the fellowship. Later, I shared my life in order to help the newcomer find his place with us. This sharing helps me to learn honesty in all my dealings and to know that God's plan for me comes true through honest openness and willingness. And that is true. So I did not go live from Facebook today because I didn't want to hassle. So yeah, please hit the like button. Um, well, there's 5 and 5, but if you're watching the rerun, please subscribe and hit the like button, hit the bell notification. I go live twice a week right now for AA, but I also upload adventures and shorts, and a lot of my shorts are of my dog and my sister's dog. Them playing together. It's really fun. Hi, Copper. Hi, baby. Yeah, so Copper's spots have gotten worse. He's been chewing it. Oh, Jesus. You go see Dad. Get out of there. Out. Go see Dad. His spots are bad. He's chewing on them and all kinds of stuff. Okay. Well, it's no question, just a bit of me and why I'm listening to the meetings. Okay. That's what I'm here for, is to read what you are feeling and be here to support you on your journey. It's why I do these meetings, is not for just my sobriety, but also to share the sobriety gift that I got for free, and I feel wonderful to be able to do that. Not a lot of people would be willing to go online and do AA meetings, but hey, I figured I have a platform and I can get it to go far and wide, and that's the whole point. Okay. Wow. Wow, that's a long time to go without a meeting. Yeah. You're welcome here. I mean, I'm not an A person, but they do the same similar things. I know you're not. I'm not saying you're an addict, but AA and NA, they are basically the same program. I've been to both types of meetings. I support some people that are recovering addicts as well as recovering alcoholics. Um, so I understand, and I'm glad you're here. This is a meeting, and I am very happy that you are here and that you are listening and getting things that you may need to boost yourself and knowing that you're doing the right thing for you. Um, Staying sober is not an easy task. Not at all. I quit smoking a year and 3 months ago. Uh, yeah, 10 years and 3 months, sorry. Um, and, sorry, I was talking about cigarettes, not alcohol. Anyway, I've been sober for 10 years and a few months, and I quit smoking a year and 3 months ago. So we, um, we quit smoking. I have emphysema, so I tried for 2 years after I was diagnosed. It took me 2 years to quit. I had been on the patch, the lozenges. I can't chew the gum because it's not actual chewing gum. And I tried Chantix twice, and then this last time that I was on it, I stayed on it long enough to hold over my cravings for a while. Um, my husband and I decided on the same day without telling each other. It was not planned. We quit smoking on the same day. and we were not even together. We were both at our own uh, jobs, and so after work that day, I told him, I said, I quit smoking today, and he says, so did I. And so, yeah, it's not easy to do, in no way at all, but it does get easier to stay in your sobriety. Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry she passed. Wow, that's crushing. That is very crushing. But you're still sober, and that's what she would want you to do, is be sober and find something that can help you to stay on that path. Um, yeah. Um, and there are people that can do that. They can drink here and there, and then you know, yeah. Principles and personalities, exactly. Yeah. So if you go into, I believe, if you go into the back of the book, I'm checking to double check myself. I don't want to say it if I'm wrong. I don't. I'm not like that, really. I don't want to. Um, I can't remember where it is. Darn it. Anyways, finding personalities is, you can have a lot of different personalities. Uh, it's what I like about these books, is you can go in them and, okay, spiritual experience. That's what you said. Yeah. I have done read the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions a few times. They're in older videos. But I will be probably picking that up again once I'm done with the big book. I might do a couple weeks of the little pamphlet thing on my um, AA app, and let me see. Hmm, Traditions. Doo-doo. Anyways, doing those is a good idea. Uh, Refreshing yourself on the steps, and um, AA 12 steps are principles for personal recovery. Trying to find. Yeah, the Daily Reflections is a great app. I don't know what location you are in, but I have um, everything AA. It's right here. So, yeah, that's the one I go with. Well, you're welcome to come to all my meetings, Ray, and I hope they help refresh you and help you in staying sober. Um, yeah, I just Copper, please stop eating your skin. He's having an allergic reaction or something. It's crazy. We've tried everything. Yeah, that's my sole purpose of doing the meetings is to I don't expect people to comment in the comments or chat in live chat because I know that some people don't want others to know that they're suffering alcoholic or recovering alcoholic, whichever. Um, but that's why I do this, and I don't expect people to be in the chat because, you know, not everybody wants it out there. And that's what I always tell people is feel free to hit the subscribe and the bell notification because I go live twice a week for AA usually. Um, However, the last Sunday of June and the first Sunday of July, I will not be live. Um, I will be out of town, up on the mountain, enjoying my week away from the city. Um, but yeah. Yes, I know you from other pages, from other channels. It's all good. It I know that I have friends and uh YouTuber friends that I've been friends with since I started. Um and I've always said that this is a judgment free zone and you can comment if you want to. You can chat in the chat if you want to. But if you don't, I completely understand that. And that's why I do these is so that way people can feel safe and secure in talking about their stories and those things that you may not want somebody to know. It can be deleted. Um, so hopefully, people feel safe here. That's awesome, Ray. That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That is not easy to share in no way. I know when I first started going to AA, I didn't say my name. I was too shy to say I was an alcoholic. I had been sober for a while, but I still didn't want people to know I was an alcoholic. And then after that first meeting, I called a few of the ladies that was on the list, and the lady that answered her phone, which was the third call I made, and she became my sponsor. And she's still my sponsor to this day, and I've been sober for 10 years and a few months. So, yeah. But it's a great thing to feel able to share some of your story here. I want it to be a safe space. I don't want people to feel like they have to share their story, but I completely understand either way. And yeah, I'm glad that you felt good enough to let us know part of you. And you're welcome here anytime. Um, Even if I'm live for just a pop up, you're welcome to pop in if you want. But yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So let's go ahead and say the Serenity Prayer. I need to be getting on the road to my parents' house. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it.